How to tell your family, I don't need help, without hurting feelings. You know, there's something I've been thinking about lately. Something I bet a lot of you can relate to. Have you ever had your kids or grandkids fuss over you a little too much? Maybe they insist on carrying your groceries, or they call 3 times a day just to check in, or they start rearranging your kitchen because they think you've got things all wrong. And deep down, you appreciate the love, really you do, but sometimes you just want to say, I've got this. I don't need help. But here's the tricky part. How do you say it without hurting their feelings? Because let's face it, their hearts are in the right place. They care. They worry. And the last thing you want is to push them away or make them feel unappreciated. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. How to communicate your independence in a way that keeps your relationship strong and your dignity intact. Because here's the truth. You deserve to feel capable, to make your own choices, and to live life on your terms, just as much as you deserve the love your family wants to give you. So, let's start with the first key to handling this delicate situation. Acknowledging their love before asserting your independence. You see, when your son insists on driving you to every appointment, or your daughter starts reorganizing your medicine cabinet, they're not trying to take over. They're speaking their love language, acts of service. So before you say, I don't need help, try leading with gratitude. Something like, you know how much it means to me that you care so much. I'm so lucky to have you looking out for me. That simple acknowledgement does something powerful. It reassures them that their efforts aren't going unnoticed. And once they feel seen, they're much more likely to hear what comes next. Then, you can gently add, but I've got this under control. If I ever need a hand, you'll be the first to know. Now, the second thing to keep in mind. Show, don't just tell. Sometimes, our families worry because they imagine us struggling, even when we're not. So, instead of just saying, I'm fine, let them see you thriving. If they're concerned about you living alone, invite them over for a meal you've cooked yourself. If they fuss about you lifting heavy things, let them watch you confidently carry your own groceries, within reason, of course. Actions really do speak louder than words, and when they witness your capability firsthand, their confidence in you grows. And here's the third tip. Set clear, loving boundaries. This one's important. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about creating mutual respect. For example, if your family has a habit of dropping by unannounced just to check on you, you might say, I love seeing you, but I'd really appreciate a quick call first. That way, I can be ready to enjoy our time together. Or, if they're always jumping in to do things for you, try, how about we make a deal? I'll ask when I need help, and in the meantime, let me keep doing what I can. It keeps me feeling good. The key here is to frame it as a partnership, not a rejection. You're not pushing them away, you're inviting them to trust you. Now, I know this isn't always easy. Families can be stubborn, and old habits die hard. But remember, your independence matters. Your voice matters. And with a little patience and the right approach, you can honor both your needs and their love. In the next part, we'll talk about how to handle those moments when family just won't take no for an answer, and how to stay firm without starting a fight. Because yes, there is a way to stand your ground while keeping the peace. But for now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever struggled with this? How did you handle it? Share your stories in the comments. I read every one. And if this resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more conversations just like this. Remember, you've spent a lifetime earning your wisdom and your independence. There's no reason you shouldn't enjoy both, on your own terms. You know, one of the things I hear most often from folks our age is this. I've tried telling my family I don't need help, but they just won't listen. And I get it. Sometimes, no matter how kindly you say it, your son still insists on mowing your lawn when you're perfectly capable, or your daughter keeps bringing over pre-cooked meals as if you've forgotten how to use your own stove. It can be frustrating, even a little insulting, right? Like they don't really see you as the strong, independent person you are. But here's the thing. Their persistence usually comes from a place of deep love, and sometimes fear. Fear that something might happen to you, fear of losing you, fear of not doing enough. So today, let's talk about how to handle those well-meaning but overbearing moments with grace, and maybe even a little strategy. First, let's tackle the art of redirection. Instead of saying no outright, which can sometimes make them dig in their heels, try steering the conversation toward what you can do, or what you'd prefer to do. For example, if your grandson always rushes to carry your bags, you might say, "You're so sweet to worry, but you know what would really help me? If you just kept me company while I put these away, I'd love to hear about your week. This does two things. It shifts their focus from doing for you to being with you, and it gives them a way to feel helpful without taking over. Because often, what they really want is to feel needed. If you give them a role that respects your independence, like being your chatty companion instead of your personal mover, everyone wins. Now, what about when they just won't back down? That's when you bring in the power of humor. A little laughter can soften even the most stubborn standoffs. Imagine your daughter is insisting on driving you to your book club again. Instead of sighing in frustration, try a playful, "What, are you trying to steal my world's best driver trophy? I've been parallel parking since before seatbelts were standard." Humor disarms. It lets you make your point without making things tense. And often, it reminds them that you're still you, sharp, capable, and full of spirit. Just be sure to keep it light and warm, not sarcastic. The goal is to tease, not to wound. But let's be real, sometimes, love feels a lot like interference. And in those moments, you might need the gentle but firm approach. This is for when redirecting and joking haven't worked, and you need to be crystal clear. Try something like, "I know you're trying to help, and I love you for it. But when you do everything for me, it makes me feel like you don't trust me. I need to do what I can, for my own pride, and my own strength." That last part is key. When you tie your independence to your well-being, something they undeniably want for you, it's harder for them to argue. You're not rejecting their care, you're asking them to care in a different way. And finally, pick your battles. Maybe you don't mind your nephew shoveling your walkway in winter, but you do mind when he tries to take over your garden in the summer. That's okay. Independence isn't about refusing all help. It's about choosing what matters to you. So let them help where it's truly helpful, or where you don't mind. And hold your ground on the things that make you feel you. Because here's the truth. This isn't just about groceries or doctor's appointments. It's about respect. It's about your family seeing you as whole. Not as someone who's fading, but as someone who's still very much here. In the next part, we'll talk about what to do when these conversations get emotional. Because sometimes, despite your best efforts, feelings do get hurt. But don't worry. There are ways to heal those little rifts and come out even stronger. Until then, I'd love to hear from you. Have you found a creative way to handle an overeager helper? Or maybe you've discovered that one phrase that finally made them pause. Share your stories below. We can all learn from each other. And if this hit home for you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest talks like this. You've been so patient and thoughtful in how you've approached this conversation with your family. You've tried gentle redirection, you've used humor, you've set clear boundaries. But what happens when emotions run high anyway? When your daughter's eyes well up because she's just trying to help? Or your son gets defensive saying, "I'm only doing this because I care"? This is where things can get tricky, but it's also where the most important work happens. Because we're not just talking about independence anymore. We're talking about connection. First, let's acknowledge something important. Their reaction isn't really about you. When your family gets emotional about your need for independence, it's often because they're confronting their own fears, about aging, about losing you, about their changing role in your life. That's why the sweetest, most well-intentioned people can suddenly turn stubborn when you say, "I've got this." It's not that they don't believe in you. It's that they're grappling with something deeper. So, when emotions flare, pause and name the love first. Instead of getting frustrated, try saying, "I know this isn't easy to hear. And I know you're saying all this because you love me. That means the world to me." When you validate their feelings before anything else, it softens the tension. It reminds them this isn't a rejection. It's just a different way of loving each other. Now, here's the next step. Reassure them, on your terms. One of the biggest fears families have is the what if. What if you fall? What if you forget something important? What if you need help and no one's there? So, instead of dismissing their concerns, address them head-on, in a way that still honors your autonomy. For example, "I promise, if I ever feel unsafe or unsure about something, I'll tell you. But right now, what helps me most is knowing I can still do these things myself. It keeps me feeling strong." Or, if they're really struggling to let go, "How about we check in every Sunday? That way, you'll know I'm okay, and I'll know you're not worrying." This isn't giving in, it's finding a middle ground where they feel heard, and you still feel free. But what if, despite your best efforts, someone gets hurt or offended? That's when the repair work begins. Maybe your granddaughter sighs and says, "Fine, do it yourself," and suddenly the room feels icy. Or your son starts listing all the things that could go wrong, and you can tell he's not really listening. In those moments, take a breath and circle back later, when emotions aren't so raw. Try something like, "I've been thinking about our conversation, and I never want you to feel unappreciated. You mean so much to me. Can we talk about this again when we're both ready?" Time and tenderness heal most rifts. And often, when you revisit the conversation calmly, they'll surprise you, because love usually finds a way. Finally, celebrate the wins, big and small. Did your daughter finally stop insisting on walking you to the mailbox? Did your grandson ask, "Do you want help?" instead of just taking over? Point it out. It meant a lot that you trusted me to handle that myself. Thank you. Positive reinforcement works wonders. It shows them that respecting your independence doesn't mean distance. It means a deeper, more trusting relationship. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Your need for autonomy isn't selfish. It's human. And the people who love you will learn to honor that, especially when you show them how. You've spent a lifetime nurturing your family. Now it's time to nurture your own spirit too. Not as someone who's getting by, but as someone who's still growing, still capable, still thriving. If this series resonated with you, I'd love to hear your stories in the comments. How have you navigated these conversations? What's worked or not worked for you? Let's keep learning from each other. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest talks like this. Here's to living life on your terms, with love, with pride, and with the unshakable knowledge that you're still writing your own story.